Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Watchdives WD007. I received this watch for a discounted rate. I don't have to send the watch back. You guys know the deal by now. It's not going to sway my review one way or the other. It's always going to be an honest opinion on this channel. And if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, me leaving a link down in the video description. That is a link to the Watchdives website where you can pick this watch up. That is an affiliate link. I do get a little bit of a kickback if you use that link to purchase the watch, and that just goes right back into the channel. They're just kind of recycling my affiliate earnings for watches. So the retail price for this watch is $149 US. That's before any taxes, coupons, etc. For any purchase over $150, you can use my code ESCAPE10 there. You'll get $10 off. And then that does include free FedEx delivery, which is nice. The watch comes in 3 different variations that you can see here. The 2 black dials, one with a date at the 6 o'clock position and one without a date. And then we have a white dial variant with a wave pattern. The watch case is made of grade 2 titanium, and then they treated it with an anti-fingerprint and hardening coating. It has a sapphire crystal with AR coating, an aluminum bezel insert, a screw-down crown, actually screw-down crowns, screw-down case back, 200 meters of claimed water resistance. You can see on the dial it does say 100 meters. That's because these watches are actually only tested to 100 meters, but they are designed for 200 meters. It has Swiss Super Luminova on the dial, bezel, and the hands, and the watch is powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So I feel like the Heimdaller is really the only competition for this watch. It's another titanium homage of this design. So I'm going to bring in my Heimdaller that I've had for quite a while, and yeah, that's how my Heimdaller ended up, sadly. The crown threads stripped, and I just salvaged it for parts. So in all seriousness, you know, Watchdives, they wanted to improve on the Heimdaller, so let's dig in and see if they did. But before we do, doing a quick wrist check today. Wearing a new watch that just came in, a quartz GMT watch. This is from Addie's Dive. I will have a review for this one up sometime soon-ish. I believe they're like 55 or 60 bucks in the sale, so pretty good value for the watch you're getting. All right, so let's get into dimensions. Got a case diameter of 42 millimeters, thickness of 14 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug width, lug to lug of 48.9 millimeters, and on the supplied metal bracelet, it weighs 116 grams. So this is definitely not a small watch. 42 by almost 49, 14 millimeters thick. A little misleading in my opinion. That is to a domed crystal, and you can see here the mid case is pretty thin, and it does have a little bit of curve down there. So because it's so lightweight, 116 grams on a stainless steel bracelet. I don't know what the watch head weighs. I'll put that up right here. But it's super lightweight, and it's super comfortable. I like the way that it wears, so I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, I can definitely pull this off. I have the wrist for it. It's not a small watch. It's pretty big, and it wears pretty big, but the fact that it's lightweight, you can see there, it hugs the wrist pretty nice with a little turn down to the lugs there and a slim mid case. So I think it wears better than the size suggests. And it's just ultra light, and it does sit very nicely on wrist. Feels really balanced with the bracelet as well. So yeah, I do like the way it wears. You can see here underneath the oak tree, all watches struggle under this oak tree to you know, keep the dial nice and clear. This one is struggling as well. I can tell you it's not as bad in real life, but yeah, just something to note that there is pretty good AR coating on this watch though. And here we are in some direct sunlight that you can see. Plenty of AR, like I mentioned. Very legible watch. Yeah, I think it looks really good. There's not any brushing or there's not any polishing on this case, so yeah, it just kind of looks good all the time, as you can see there. All right, let's go inside. Let's throw it on some straps, and we'll get back to this review. Here we are on a black Barton Silicone Elite. I do think that looks pretty good. I had no doubts that a black rubber strap is going to look good on this watch, and it does. And here we are on a kind of a brownish grayish FKM strap. I'll try and find a link for this. This actually came off a Militato, but I believe these are on AliExpress. Nice strap. I think it does look pretty cool on this colorway though. And lastly, here we are on a nylon strap. This is a Cincy Strapco SF2. So 2 layers underneath the watch there. It's a pretty thin nylon strap, but still sitting very nicely on wrist. I think that color combo looks really, really good. It goes perfect with that patina lume. Super lightweight too. Just really ultra comfortable. All right, let's go back inside. Let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing. So case finishing is a fully brushed case. You can see here it's not bead blasted, which is nice to see. So you have all sorts of different brushing. You got an angular brushing on this inner part here. You've got a vertical brushing on the chamfer, and you got a horizontal brushing on the sides. Everything is done pretty nice. It's about what I expected for a titanium watch. I've yet to get a titanium watch that I've been kind of blown away by the case finishing. I'm not saying the case finishing is bad on this thing. It's not. It's right on par with everything else that I've seen. Like I mentioned earlier, it is grade 2 titanium. You have a titanium crown. The crown threads are done differently than the Heimdallr. That's one of the things that they improved on. You can see there, it's got external crown threads. The Heimdallr, which I think was their downfall, they have some internal threads, and that's kind of what I think did their case in. So, yeah, it seems that they have learned from Heimdallr's mistakes, and they do have these external threads, and they feel really good. I've had no issues with that. The crown here, nice size, big and grippy. It is a signed screw down crown there, really nicely done. Yeah, for the most part, I have no issues with the case itself. I think they did a good job. There's no real sharp edges on it or anything like that. I have run into some sharp edges on the bottom, on the case back here. You can see the scalloping here. These little points, they are a little rough. So when you're sliding this on your wrist, it does feel a little gross. But once it's on the wrist, you don't notice it at all. Other than the initial sharpness getting it on the wrist, it doesn't feel sharp when it's actually on the wrist. So yeah, I think it's pretty nicely done. Circular case back, no engravings or anything like that. Very simple. Yeah, it is what it is. I've got no issues with it. I was able to get this case back off with a simple tool. So yeah, I've got no real complaints with the case itself, other than just a little discomfort when you're sliding it on wrist. All right, so let's talk about the bezel on this thing. So the bezel is a 120 click unidirectional bezel. You can see here the bezel itself. It's got some brushing on it. It's got some scalloping going on. It's a nice bezel, pretty decent grip on it. I think the resistance is about spot on. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of grip. So it needs to be less tight than like a coin edge bezel. But I think they got it just about right. You can see here, there is just, I mean, there is just, I don't even know if you guys can see it. There's a teeny tiny bit of play. Minuscule. It doesn't bother me at all. Alignment is spot on. Even the bezel is aligned to the bezel insert there. So yeah, I'm really happy with the bezel on this thing. For being a titanium watch, it feels really good. I'll let you guys listen to it here. So it has that kind of typical titanium, just light sounding, but it's consistent all the way around. And like I said, it aligns nicely. I've got no real complaints. It's about what I expected for a titanium bezel. It does have some steel parts in there, I guess, but yeah, it's fine. I got really no complaints with it. The fact that they used an aluminum insert, I'm a huge fan of that. It's kind of that perfect sheen to it. So it's not a completely matte bezel. It's not a glossy bezel. It's just really nicely done. You can see all the engravings, really nicely done, filled with faux patina. You do have a loomed pip there at the 12 o'clock. I kind of wish they would just kind of integrate that in instead of having it sit above, but not a big deal. It is just nicely centered in there though, as you can see there. So overall, very satisfied with it. I love the fact that they went with the aluminum bezel. I know the aluminum insert is a less premium material than ceramic, but ceramic can't look like this, and they just nailed it. And I don't know if you guys saw it in the earlier shots, the outdoor shots, in really bright lighting. You can kind of see it up here. It does have a brown hue to it, so most of the time it just looks like a matte black, but there are hints of brown in it, I think. So yeah, really a cool bezel insert. I'm glad they went with the aluminum. All right, so let's test the Crystal 4 Sapphire. You can see there it is, sapphire crystal, and it's actually really nicely done. The Heimdallr had a really high dome, like a big high dome crystal with lots of blue AR. It was pretty distracting. It also made the dial look small, and there's lots and lots of distortion around the edges. It just kind of looked funny. So the fact that they went with this one, I'm a big fan of that. Just a simple double dome sapphire with clear anti-reflective coating and plenty of it. It looks really, really good. Very happy with the crystal on this thing. They chose a nice one. I know it's not true to the original watch, this style of crystal. That's more of what the Heimdallr had, but I think this one is definitely a nicer crystal. So yeah, really happy with this one, guys. So let's get in there. Let's talk about the dial on this thing. So this is a matte black dial, as you can see there. There's no brown to it that I was able to see, but it's still really nicely done. Everything is aligned very nicely. We have a date at the 6 o'clock position. Like I mentioned earlier, you can get this without the date, but I like the fact that they color matched it. I think it looks really good. It's centered in there nicely. They did a good job. If you get the no date version, it actually has one of the crow's feet down here at the 6 o'clock. So just something to note. I think everything is done nicely. The printing, nice and crisp, as you can see on the Watchdives logo there. Printed minute track around the outside, and then applied hour markers at all the hour positions. You have a double baton here, which is perfectly applied, nice and straight, which is always an issue on these watches. Nice big circular indices, and you can see here, hopefully, the indices are a kind of a bead blasted. It looks really good. They contrast nicely. They pop. It just looks really, really good. And I mean, they did a very nice job filling in the lume just right up to the brim there. Really happy with the applied indices on this thing. Nicely done. The handset that they use, typical skeletonized handset for this style of watch. You can see a red tip on the second hand there, reaching right out to the minute track. Nice long minute hand there as well, reaching right out. Perfectly sized. You have the flared hour hand, which the Heimdallr was lacking. They are a brushed handset, as you can see. Hopefully you can see that. They're a brushed handset, so they're not a polished. I think they look really good. They contrast nicely with the dial. A polished handset in this style could really get lost. So yeah, the fact that they brushed it, I'm a big fan of that as well. You got your pop of red down here on the water resistance. If you missed it earlier, it is 100 meters tested and 200 meters designed. So yeah, just something to note. But yeah, I think the dial, they did a really good job on this. I'm very satisfied with it. The lume on this watch, I'm going to pop up a lume shot here. So here you can see it against a couple other watches in the collection. The initial glow is actually pretty decent on the watch. Like I said, it is C3 Super Luminova, so it does have a pretty decent burst. It is a green hue to it, but you can see here, it does just fade away. The lume is pretty disappointing on this one. I have a feeling the white dial with the BGW9 is going to be a little bit better. And also the skeletonized hands, they don't do any favors for this style of lume. So yeah, just because of all those different factors, the lume is not great on this watch. It's not horrible, but it's definitely not great. They could do better on that. All right, so let's talk about the movement and the crown on this thing. So the movement is the Seiko NH35 with a custom date wheel on this version. So really happy with these movements. 21,600 beats per hour, so 6 ticks of the second hand every second. 40 hours of power reserve at hacks, hand winds, bidirectional winding rotor. It is everything you need in a watch like this. It's perfect. I've got no complaints with it. I'm not going to show my time grapher. This watch actually got magnetized, and I haven't had the chance to demagnetize it. So, but typically these watches run, within 10 seconds a day, and that is perfectly acceptable for me. I have no complaints with the movement. I have no complaints with the crown threading. They seem to have improved what Heimdallr failed at. So, really nice, smooth crown threading, decent pop out from the NH35. First position, hand winding. Second position is your date window there. Everything seems to be centered in there really nicely. Get to the 20s for you. So yeah, really happy with the date window. I guess they could have improved that with some like faux patina numerals, but this looked great in my opinion. Third position, hacks the movement. And this is where you set the time. You get nice satisfying positions on the crown too. Very happy with that. And the crown itself, really nice and sturdy. So yeah, very satisfied with the crown action on this thing, and disappointed that the movement got magnetized. That's not Watchdives' fault. That just kind of happens sometimes. So yeah, I can't really comment on this particular watch's accuracy, but yeah, the movement, the crown, everything feels really good. I will talk about this crown here, I guess. So this is our helium escape valve. This is just an opening into the case. So I guess technically it is a valve. So it just, I don't know. I kind of wish they wouldn't have included this, but I know it's kind of iconic of the design. Nice, smooth screw in, screw out action. I'm always going to keep that closed though. But yeah, overall, pretty satisfied with the crowns and happy with the movement too. All right, so let's talk about the bracelet on this thing. So the bracelet is a mesh style bracelet here. It is stainless steel. It's not titanium. So they went with stainless steel. It is a little bit more scratch resistant, I guess. overall, pretty satisfied with it. I haven't really scratched the clasp on it yet, as you can see there. I've been wearing it on this bracelet quite a bit. Pretty nicely done. I know they said they improved over the Heimdallr. I don't think the Heimdallr had the adjustment holes in it. It just had like a sliding mechanism that could have come loose from time to time, I guess. I'm not really sure. I didn't pay too much attention to that. But yeah, the bracelet is pretty nice. It's 20 millimeters. It tapers down to 17.5. No quick release, which is kind of a bummer. That's one thing that I wish they would have included on this thing. But other than that, it's pretty nicely done. So to adjust the size on this, you do have little grooves here that you got to slide the clasp into, and yeah, then you just find the right hole, put the stick in it. Sounds kind of dirty. That's what she said. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you adjust it. It stays in place. I haven't had this thing release on me except when I'm pulling really, really tight on this thing. Which I'm not even able to do it now. If you pull really, there you go. If you pull really, really tight, you can break that connection. But under normal use, you just won't do that. So I'm pretty happy with it overall. The clasp, I wish it would have had the Watchdives logo on it, but it doesn't. Nice clean look though. Pretty cool looking clasp. Everything functions as it should. Fully milled on the insides. Yeah, no real issues with the bracelet on this thing. It doesn't pull hairs or anything like that. I like the fact that it tapers. I guess it could be a little bit less shiny. Maybe they could have, I know this is like a brushed finish, but maybe they could have bead blasted it just to match the case a little bit better, but I really don't think it looks bad at all. I think they did a pretty good job with this one. So there you go, guys. That's my take on the Watchdives WD007. I think it is a much nicer watch than the Heimdallr. For one, they fixed the crown issue on the Heimdallr. I feel like the bezel action on this one is better. I like the crystal on this one better. I like the handset better on this one. They give us a little bit more options when it comes to dates and no dates and stuff. So yeah, I'm overall very happy with this watch, and I'm kind of tempted to pick up the white dial as well. Yeah, I don't really see anywhere that they skimped. They gave us a hardening coating, which this one definitely did not have, and it's definitely more prone to fingerprints. You can see all the scratches on this case here. So far, this case is mint. So I haven't had this one for very long, but still, yeah, it's nice that we get that. Some solid upgrades, in my opinion. I do like this watch a lot. So I think that's it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.